CAGR, compound annual growth rate.
Thank you.
I want to see a show of hands. Who has friends today that were your friends during your childhood? Raise your hand. Look at that, almost everybody. I want to tell you about one of mine, John. John, by the time he was 14, 15, we knew he'd be a teacher. Everyone knew he'd be a teacher. And he did. He became a professor of English literature at Stony Brook University. He was good. I mean, the passionate kind of teacher who gets out there and puts his heart out there. His students love him. Everybody loves him. But he did it for years. And he dealt with the politics of teaching and students who became a bit more empathetic. Sometimes a lot less empathetic. One day, pouring his heart out in class, some snot-nosed kid raised his hand in the back of the room. "Do we need to know this for the final?" And my friend dropped his book, walked out the door, walked into the dean's office, and said, "I quit." Dean of Stony Brook said, "You can't quit in the middle of the semester." He said, "Watch me." And he walked right out. I found out about this 2 weeks later when his wife called. She said, "John wants to be a mailman." What? A PhD mailman? She said there aren't many of them. Well, I went right down to Stony Brook University to straighten out my friend. Oh, was I on a mission. And yes, this was a long time ago, and yes, I took the train. And I went to Stony Brook, I got off, and I caught John in the middle of his route delivering mail. And I was ready, I was amped up. I got to straighten this SOB out. I really do. And as we were walking, and we started to walk, he said, "You see that house over there? Young girl, just a recent widow, lost her husband, has 3 kids, totally depressed. Doesn't feel like she can get through life. I sit with her 1 hour every day, giving her hope, giving her faith, lifting her up. Walked a bit more. See that house over there? Old man, just lost his wife for 52 years. Wanted to live his own life, but I sit with him every day for about half an hour, and I give him hope, and I let him know that anything is possible at any age. You can change the world." And as we're going on, remember, I went there to teach a lesson to my friend. Somebody tell me who got a lesson that day. I got the lesson. You see, my friend John had a great mission in life. He wanted to help people. And when the medium through which he chose to exercise that mission failed him, teaching, he just found a new medium. The purpose, the passion behind that purpose was not subject to change. You want to get off the nail? Have a great purpose. It'll get you off every single time. Which brings me to an old friend, Jim Tooey. If Jim Tooey looks familiar, it's because you've seen him. It's because you've seen him. 40 movies and television programs later, you've seen him. When you see his face, you'll know you've seen him. Whether it's Running Scared, The Producers, The Jimmy Kimmel Show, For All Mankind, the Apple TV show, you've seen him again and again and again. And usually Jim Tooey plays the same role. The tough mafia enforcer with the scowl on his face. And usually his movie role is one half of a movie, because his brains are splattered all over an ice skating rink by the second half of the movie. What's interesting about this is I know Jim. And when Avis and I brought him to the castle about 15 years ago, he was there about 2 hours, and I laughed for 2 hours. If Jim had been there 3 hours, I would have been laughing for 3 hours. Jim's mission on earth is to get people to laugh. And damn it, he's really good at it. He doesn't even try. You'll see when he opens his mouth, you're going to start laughing and you don't even know why. So when he came to me with what I thought was a bizarre idea, really bizarre, writing a play and subsequently a movie about cancer. Now, to me, cancer is not a funny subject. I don't know anyone who thinks it's funny. But Jim thought he could bring humor to a very dark subject. And I thought to myself, if anyone in the world could pull this off, it's Jim Tooey. Bringing a new paradigm to a horrible illness, getting people to smile, see some of the absurdities, I thought was sheer brilliance. He did a play off-Broadway. He started it, he wrote it, he was a hit. Now it's time for a movie. I promise you it's going to be a success because this is the Groucho Marx of the 21st century. Gone very dark. Jim Tooey, get up here.
Thank you. Well, you got to excuse me. I had a replacement knee here. And the play that I wrote was Tumor Humor, He's Malignant, She's Benign. And it was a story about two people. The guy, his life was malignant, but his tumor was benign, and she was malignant, and her life was benign. And it was a two-person play that ran off Broadway, and produced a lot of laughs and a lot of fun, and we helped a lot of people out by doing it. But right now, we're going to be talking about a movie called The Winner. Now, The Winner is a comedy of errors of a man trapped in an abusive relationship who attempts to kill his morbidly obese wife by feeding her to death. Now, you see, everybody has different things in life and they get heavy. We're talking about the health and wellness stuff going on here, you know? It's a dark comedy drama, okay? Comparable to Throw Mama from the Train meets Fargo and The Big Lebowski. Well, we have the script here. We have a lot of people, and I'll read them after about who we'd like to star in the show. Now, Tony and Laurie are just an average young adults. They love each other. Laurie's pushing Tony to get married. Tony's reluctant, but he asks her father, Sid, for her hand in marriage. Although Sid and his morbidly obese wife, Shelley, consider Tony to be a loser. He reluctantly gives in and gives Tony a job at his brokerage firm so he can take proper care of his daughter. Tony quickly realizes at that moment that he's made a huge mistake. His friend Jim told him, if you want to see what your life is going to be like and what your wife is going to be like, look at a mother. Boom! We're cutting to 20 years later. There we are. Tony and Laurie with two children. Laurie's turned out to be her mother, and even worse. Her constant nagging and emasculating of Tony pushes him to attempted suicide, and he can't even do that right. Distracted on the way to work, he cuts off a motorcyclist and almost runs him over, dents the guy's bike. The motorbike, he says, I'll get you and I'll find you wherever you are, right? He's going to kick Tony's ass. Tony speeds away. At work, Laurie continues to insult Tony, driving him nuts. The iPad, the phone, the this, the that, the computer. Everywhere he turns, she's in his face. She goes, come home, you got food to cook. You got clothes to make, and this and that, right? Tony turns to his friend Jim, who's in the next booth. Jim says, yeah, I know guys. I got a guy. What do you got? I got mob guys. I know mob guys all over town. Well, what do you want to do? He goes, I want to take care of him. He goes, I'll get a hair out of the picture. I'll get the father out of the picture too. So he takes him to a mob guy called Shoes. Now, Nicky Shoes has a shoe fetish. He drives around with a shoemobile and sniffs women's shoes and gets high. But have no doubt, he is an eccentric killer. He dresses in a pink turban and a robe, carries an Angora cat, and listens to Italian opera music. Tony hires Shoes and pays him half the money up front. Meanwhile, there's insider trading activity going on at Sid's company. The feds plant Claire there, and she has her own problems. Claire was a madam in D.C., and the feds want her to get some convictions from the company. Well, then, Tony gets cold feet. He says, yeah, I can't do this. What am I doing? I can't kill my wife, right? So they go back to Shoes. Shoes goes absolutely ballistic on him. Loses his mind. Now he wants insider trading information not to kill her. and they got to come up with a way to kill her and get the insurance money. Well, what they do, after a whole montage and scenario, they decide that they're going to kill her, okay? They're going to kill her, and they're going to kill her with food. They're going to feed her to death. They are going to feed her to death. She is so big now that she's the size of a couch. And she's having heart problems. She's having everything going on, right? Sid is having a birthday party, the father. Laurie, come to the party. I can't, I'm sick, I'm this and that. Jim goes over to the house. He gets Laurie. They get in the car. On the way to the party, they get a flat tire. A tow truck shows up. A midget jumps out. Phil, he gets him. It's one of the big tow trucks. He takes Laurie to the party. They show up. They all arrive at their respective things. When they show up, Sid's on the way to the party, and it's a cowboy midget convention. So there's all other guys there, too. There's 25, 30 of them there, dressed in full cowboy gear. She invites them into Sid's party. Now, as they walk into Sid's party, there's Jerry Springer singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz. The midgets go nuts. They go ballistic. He's dissing us. Get everybody. All the ponies, everybody come in. They trash the party. They lasso Jerry Springer. They take him down. They drag him out. Jim and his wife escape outside. She has a heart attack and falls right on top of Gilbert, the company rat. She falls on top of him. Witness, the feds pull up. They take everybody in except Jim and Tony, right? The MTs struggle to put Laurie on the gurney into the ambulance. Just as the ambulance leaves, here's the motorcycle guy that was in the beginning of the thing. He comes riding down the street. Bam! He hits Tony. Tony goes flying up in the air, does a double flip, comes down on the ground. Claire runs to him and says, "You're not a loser anymore. You're a winner." And the camera pans and spans up, and the movie. So, it's a kind of an eccentric movie.
Really?
They're a little eccentric. We have guys like Maniscalco, Ben Stiller, Charlie Day as Tony, Melissa McCarthy, Amy Schumer, Rachel Wilson as Laurie, Danny DeVito as Sid. A couple like that. We had Gilbert, but Gilbert's not here anymore. And then also Tony has a gumad that's in the office, Natasha, which I didn't mention, and she's a Russian transvestite, which he doesn't know about. And she whips his ass with the cat nine tails every day, you know, makes him say crazy Russian terms. As the hitmen, we have Billy Defoe, Chaz Palminteri, Michael Madsen. And they're just a few of the people that we have in here. So we're looking for $5.4 million for this film to get it off the ground. Starting money, we have a business plan, we have a script, and if anybody would like to read it and get us going, Kevin's my partner here in this. We wrote this thing for years together, and he knows all the financials. If you have any questions about tax deferments and things like that, Kevin would be the guy to answer that. Okay? Thank you.
Well done.